military, correct me if I think the U.S. is, renewing its energy and buildup in the Pacific because it's really turning its eye toward China as a growing world power. And so it's really investing a lot in building up Hawaii, and actually this comes actually from Kalekua's work. Hawaii can be seen as the po'o, the head of the he'e of the U.S. military's imperial reach around the globe, but particularly in the Pacific. The U.S. Pacific Command, which is the head of U.S. military operations, that is headquartered near Pu'uloa, above Pu'uloa at Camp Smith, has the responsibility for half the globe, basically. Yeah? So U.S. military operations in over half the globe is headquartered in Hawaii.
I just wanted to make a comment that we in the Pacific, it's called the Pacific Pivot. Yeah, the military, the United States military is now shifting away from the Middle East, and they are now coming into the Pacific with the idea, with the declaration actually that we are trying to contain China. Yeah. And to answer your question, what are we going to do about it? That's why I'm in the international community and with all these women. And that is for us to see that we can't do it alone. We need to have people throughout, the Pacific and other parts of the world to understand that these things have to be reversed. They have to change. And that's why I talked about genuine security. Instead of going into the mantra of national security, taking your sons and your daughters into these wars, it's to reverse it. Yeah. So for me, having that outreach, talking to people who are experiencing the same thing, and coming up with strategies in which to confront this aggression is a very important and key idea to have to work on.
We got to meet some really inspiring demilitarization activists from Okinawa a few months ago, and they're like us. They don't have a ton of money or arms to challenge the U.S. military's presence on their land, or the Japanese military's presence on their land. But they had some really creative and beautiful strategies for challenging that presence. So, one that comes to mind, for example, is that they would basically go and stand along the fence lines and try to talk to the soldiers who are stationed there and tell them about what the impacts are, and basically kind of build relationships and change people's minds who are on the inside, which I thought was really pass them letters. Another strategy that they had was they were protesting around an airstrip, and so they flew these huge or very, very tall balloons into the line of flight of where the planes were supposed to land, so that the planes couldn't take their normal flight path and land on the airstrip. So I think those kinds of international connections for thinking about strategies within the, and tactics within the means that we have are really valuable.
Oh, that answers the question.
At this point, I'd like to actually can help myself. Let me just add to that question. So, to have that answer, again, remember, as it's called, this is the Pacific century, and it's called for that reason, because the Pacific is where globalization is occurring. And so to understand the role of the military in globalization, you got to understand what's happening with the Asia Pacific, or APEC, and the Asian Development Bank, and the IMF, and so forth. And also the role of Hawaii specifically in all of this. Hawaii is the capital of the militarization of the Pacific. There are more. If you're looking for weapons of mass destruction, they're here. You don't need to go to Iraq to find them. They're all over here. So, to answer the question, this is what they call it, the Pacific century. And because Hawaii is in the center of the Pacific, we're going to play a very important role in this century. So, again, I'd like to mahalo these women for coming forward and sharing.